गुरुरेव गति गुरुमेव भजे गुरुनैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे न गुरुः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरुः मतिरस्ति गुरो मम पाहि गुरो सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरये परमात्मने प्रणतः क्लेशनाशाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेदमपेदकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकादर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस्तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। सर्वेभ्यः नमस्कारः. We are saying Srimad Bhagavada Purana and we are saying Dhruva Charita in it. Dhruva meditated on Bhagavan Vishnu and he saw Bhagavan Vishnu, and Bhagavan Vishnu also, Sri Hari, he gave boons to Dhruva, and Dhruva returned to his palace after receiving all those boons from Sri Hari, and he grew up in the palace and everyone liked him very much. The nation as well as his father, stepmother, stepbrother, everyone liked him very much, and he grew up in the palace and he became a youth now. And his father, Uttanapada, he gave the power of rulership. That is, he made Dhruva as the king and he retired to the forest. And Dhruva is a youth now. That young Dhruva is a youth now. He married Brahmi, daughter of Shishumara Prajapati. He married her. And Dhruva and Brahmi had two sons, Kalpa and Vatsara. And after some years, he married again and he took another wife. Her name is Ila, and she was the daughter of Vayudeva. And Dhruva and Ila had two children, one son, Utkala, and a very beautiful daughter. So life was going on like this. One day, his step brother Uttama, he was not married, he was unmarried, and he went to the forest in the Himalayan region for hunting. As predicted by Bhagavan Sri Hari, he went to the forest for hunting, and there he was killed by a very powerful yaksha, and he died there. And his mother, Suruchi, she searched for him everywhere, and knowing that he went for hunting in that forest in the Himalayas, she also went there in search of Uttama. There she was consumed by a forest fire. So both of them died. Suruchi and her son Uttama, they both died as predicted by Bhagavan Sri Hari. And hearing the death of Uttama, his stepbrother, King Dhruva, he became very angry and he went to Alakapuri. Alakapuri was a city occupied by the Guhyakas and Yakshakas. Guhyakas are the warrior class or the subclass of the Yakshakas. Kubera and all was the Yakshaka king, and one of the powerful Yakshaka only killed Dhruva's brother Uttama, and that place Alakapuri, that was occupied by the Guhyakas, who are the subclass of the Yakshakas, or you can say it as the warrior class of the Yakshakas. And that place Alakapuri was very near Bhagavan Sri Rudra's place Kailasha. So many of the Bhutas and the Bhutakanas and the Rudras, they all come here and they stay there for some time. So it is a place frequented by the Bhutas and Pretas also. And it is a city mainly for the Guhyakas, which is the subclass of the Yakshakas. Young Dhruva, he mounted on his golden chariot, taking his bow and arrow, he went to the city of Alakapuri. So it was a very beautiful city. He went there. And from there, he twanked his bow. That is, he made sound, he vibrated his bow. And many Guhyakas, great Guhyaka warriors, they came out. And King Dhruva, he severed the head of those Guhyakas by his powerful arrow. And many more Guhyakas came out. He killed all of them. And basically, these Guhyakas or Yakshakas, they were the divine spirits with so many magical powers. They use the magical powers to protect them. So, like this, the Guhyakas, when they were not able to fight with Dhruva, they used their magical powers against Dhruva, King Dhruva. And by those magical powers, it covered the King Dhruva. So he was inside, and all this magical powers, just like a black cloud, it surrounded him. And no one can see King Dhruva. At this time, the rishis who were in favor of King Dhruva, they came to that sky. They were standing in that space, and they said to King Dhruva, Uttanapade Bhagavam Stavashangadanva Devakshinottva Vanatartiharo Vibhakshan Yennyamadeyamabhidaya Nishamya Chadha Lohonja Satarati Dustaramanga Mrityum. They just worshipped Bhagavan, and they said in their prayer that let the power of Mahavishnu save this young, my son, Dhruva. And they also said, oh, my son Dhruva, people chant his name and they are relieved from all those difficulties. Let that Bhagavan, may that Lord Mahavishnu destroy your enemies. They said like that. Because Bhagavan is a Shangadanva, he is having that Shanga, he is having that Sharanga bow in his hand. Let him protect you, said the rishis very loudly. And King Dhruva heard the prayer of the rishis. And hearing the prayer of the rishis, King Dhruva, he took the Narayanastra. He worshipped Bhagavan Srimad Narayana, and he did all the rituals and rites connected with it, and he took the Narayanastra. When he took the Narayanastra itself, all those magical powers which are around him, it disappeared. So all those black cloud-like things, they disappeared. And King Dhruva mounted the Narayanastra on his bow, and he released the arrow, Narayanastra. It killed all the Guhyakas, many, many Guhyakas by that single arrow. He released that arrow, and all the Guhyakas were killed. Seeing this, his grandfather, Swayambhuva Manu, he also appeared among the rishis, and he gave advice to King Dhruva. He said that you are killing number of innocent Guhyakas. They did not do any harm to you. Someone Yakshaka, he killed your brother, but you are killing those innocent Guhyakas. Mahavishnu will not like this, my son. It is not good for a devotee of Mahavishnu. Nayam margo hi sadhunam hrishikeshanu bhartinam yadhamanam paragruhya pashuvad bhuda vaishasam. It is not the way of the devotee of the Mahavishnu to be cruel to living beings. You realized Bhagavan Vishnu as your Antaratma, and he pervades this entire creation, and you are killing these inert bodies, assuming that they are Atmas. This body is only a combination of 5 elements, that's all. Thinking that this is that Atma, you are killing them. What is the use of it? And you saw Bhagavan Mahavishnu or Sri Hari pervading the entire universe. He is the Antaratma for all the beings. Then how come you commit such a sinful act, my son, like this? Swayambhuva Manu asked King Dhruva. And Bhagavan Sri Hari likes the devotees who are forgiving, merciful, and friendly to all. This body is a mere combination of five elements. And Swayambhuva Manu gave a gist about the creation to King Dhruva, and just an essence of the creation. He said that the power of time and karma, it disturbs the yoga maya, which is the combination of the three gunas, that is the sattva, rajas, and tamas. So the power of time and karma disturbs the gunas of Prakriti, and by that agitation evolves all the categories, right from the Mahat up to the form of the small beings, that one cell beings. So that is how the creation projects. And Bhagavan, he is the witness of the time, that is Kala, Karma, and all these evolution. He is the witness of all this. Sakalvidam Bhagavan Kala Shaktya Guna Pravahena Vibhakta Viryaha Karotya Kartaiva Nihatya Hanta Cheshta Vibhumna Kalu Durvibhavya. Kala Shaktya, by the power of time, Karoti Akartaiva. Bhagavan, he appears as a karta, that is, he appears as a doer, even though he is not the doer. Hanta, a hanta, that is, he appears as the destroyer, even though he is not the destroyer. It is the kala and the gunas of Prakriti and the karma. It does all that, but it appears that Bhagavan is doing all this. His power of Maya and time cannot be exactly conceived or perceived by anyone. Durvibhavya khalu. It is so difficult to perceive the real nature of time, the real nature of the gunas, everything. We can tell it at a glance, that's all. We cannot investigate on it or correctly understand it, because that's the power of Maya, the power of Bhagavan Sri Hari. Bhuvamanu is telling about the nature of the time and the power of time. Sonantontakarah kalo nadi anadhikrit avyayah janam janena janayan marayan mrityunantakam. Bhagavan in the form of Kala. So Kala is said as the Rupa of Bhagavan. In that Rupa, but that time is, doesn't have any end. Na antah, it doesn't have any end. Antakaraha, it brings an end to all the creatures or the living beings. Anadi, it doesn't have any beginning, but it marks the beginning for all the creation or for all the forms or for this manifestation itself. Avyayaha, it is indestructible. Janam, janena janayan. As a father, it creates the child, and in that way, it is said as the Janayan, that is the creator. Mrityuna Antakam Marayan. In the form of Mrityu, it approaches all the beings, and in that way, the time marks the end of all the form, and it is said as the destructor. It brings an end to the creation itself, and so it is said as the destructor. And time doesn't have a friend or a few. It is just, it does create everything, and it destroys everything based on the karma. That is, it's a dharma. So the time is that is the power of Bhagavan. For all living beings, according to the karma, it approaches them in the form of death. Bhagavan is the witness of all this. He doesn't interfere in anything. He's the witness of all this. Some refer to the mysterious power behind this creation as the Kala, time. Some refer it as the karma. It is all my fate. It is all my action. Like that they say. So some say it as karma, and some say it as the swabhava of the three gunas, but no one understands it. Sometimes it may be the combination of these three. Sometimes it may be beyond all this. So no one understands exactly what it is. What is the mysterious power behind the operation of this creation? Avyakta, it is unmanifest. Aprameya, no one can understand it. न चैदे पुत्रः भ्रातुर्हन्तारो धनुर्धानुकाः विसर्गाद्दानयोस्तादभुंसो दैवं हि कारणम्. My dear son, Bhratu Hantarhana. These that is this Dhanadanukaha means the Yakshakas. They are the rich divine spirits, Yakshakas, or the warrior class, that is the Guhyakas. Then Bhratu Hantarahana. They did not kill your brother, my dear son. Bhumsaha Visarga Dhanayoho, for the destruction and the creation of the Bhumsa, that is for the man. Daivam hi karanam. It is the fate that is the reason for it. It is not this yakshaka or that person is responsible for the destruction of any person. It is the karma and the time, in the form of time, it destroys everything. In fact, it is Bhagavan in that form, mysterious form. He destroys every being, all the forms. Because the next creation and the next cycle has to come, isn't it? So, according to the karma, everything gets distracted. So, do not worry, my dear son, said Swayambhuva Manu to his grandson, King Dhruva. He also said, Yesha Bhudani Bhudatma Bhudesho Bhuda Bhavanah Swashaktya Mayaya Yukta Srujatyati Chapadicha. Yesha Maya Shaktya Yukta, by the power endowed with Maya. Bhudanam Bhudeshaka, he is the Ishvara of all the Buddhas. Bhuda Bhavanaha, he rules over the Buddhas, that is the Bhagavan. Srijati, he creates. Atti, he destroys. Padicha, he sustains or maintains the world also. So it is the Bhagavan in that different form as a time, kala, or a maya. He does everything, my dear son. It is not that these yakshakas killed you, but of course, it appears that the yakshakas killed your brother, but it is not that. Daivam hi karanam. Daivam here refers to time or karma. That is the time acting with the power of the karma. So you take refuge in that Bhagavan, my dear son. And even at the very tender age of 5, you transcended these three worlds and you understand the real nature of Bhagavan. And once you regretted that, you must have asked for liberation. You do not want all these powers, because all these powers are that is materialistic world. Powers in the materialistic world are just fleeting, just like a flash on the pan. It just goes off before we enjoy it, before we grasp it, before we tell it to others. Sometimes it goes off. So it is just like that. You only realized it, my son. Now why are you worrying about it? His grandfather Swayambhuva Manu asked, or said it to King Dhruva, and he also said, Tvam pratyagatmani tada bhagavatyananta anandamatram upapanna samasta shakto bhaktim vidaya paramam shanaghaira vidyagrantim vibhetsyasi mamahamiti prarudham. He says that, Tvam, you worship that Bhagavan who is Anantaha. Anantaha means who has no end. Who has no end. Ananda Matram, who is the essence of bliss or the embodiment of bliss. Uppanna Samashta Shakta, he has all the powers. He is endowed with all the powers. Pratyagatmani, he resides in all the Atmas, in each and every other. Pratyak Atmani, in each and each Jiva he resides. Bhagavadi Paramam Bhaktim Vidaya, worship that Bhagavan who is your Antaratma and who resides in all beings. Worship that Bhagavan with unswearing bhakti. Tada Prarudham, by that, what happens is, Mama aham idi avidya grantim. The avidya, that is the knots of ignorance, like mine, I, sanaghai vibhetsyasi. Slowly it will be removed. So it is this ego, and out of that ego, what thought comes is I and mine. Actually, this disturbs a person. So when you worship Bhagavan as your Antaratma, all this Shanai very slowly, gradually, not slowly, gradually it will disappear. So you can be free from all that, said Swayambhuva Manu to his grandson. तमेन मङ्गात्मनि मुक्तविग्रहे व्यभाश्रितं निर्गुणमेघमक्षरम् आत्मानमन्विच्छ विमुक्तमात्मदृक् यस्मिन्निदं भेदमसत् प्रतीयते. Seek within Atmadrika, seek within yourself that Bhagavan who is Ekam, one, Aksharam, non decaying or non destructible, Vimukta, who is always free, unattached, and worship that Bhagavan or seek that Bhagavan in yourself, that is as your Antaratma. Worship him, always be attached with him. Repeatedly think of Atma and cross over your anger, because your anger doesn't do any good for yourself or for others. So to overcome that anger, worship that Bhagavan as your Antaratma, then all your anger will be subdued. If a person wants to free himself from all the shackles or all the bondage, then he must not create fear in others by his anger. So if he creates fear in others by his anger, then he can never be a mukta from the anger. So that is very important. He will be never, he will be always in bondage for to fear. He will always fear for everything else. So he must not show his anger or be angry with anyone. Grandfather Swayambhuva Manu advised King Dhruva. And he also said this, you have killed a long lot of Guhyakas. So that Yaksha was only a nimitta, an agent for the death of your brother, that is your step brother. He was not the real reason for it. Only his fate at the time, or the main reason for the death of Uttama, your step brother. So please understand it, my dear young son, and propitiate before Kubera and seek his pardon. Like this, Swayambhuva Manu, the grandfather of King Dhruva, said to his grandson, and he appeared along with the rishis in the space, and he said all this, and along with the rishis, he disappeared from the vision of King Dhruva. King Dhruva immediately he invited Kubera, and giving up his anger and all that, he worshipped Kubera, and Kubera appearing before King Dhruva, he said, Bo, Bo, Kshatriya Dhayat. That is, you are the great scion of the Kshatriya family, he said. And Kubera said, Nabhava Navadidyaksha Nayaksha Bhratarantava Kalayeva hi Bhutanam Prabhurapyaya Bhavayoho. You have not killed the Yakshas, nor have you killed the Yakshas, killed your brother. It is for all this, the cause of the birth and the death of all the creatures. It is the Lord in the form of time. Actually, your brother was also not killed by any Yaksha, and you also did not kill any Yakshas. It is the time that in the form of time, Bhagavan, to felicitate for the next cycle of creation, he causes all this death and birth. It is the identification with the body due to the ignorance and the thought as mine, I, that is the real cause for all the suffering and bondage. Actually, it is not the problem that disturbs us. It is the thought of that egoistic thought that it happened to me, it comes to me, mine property is disturbed. Like this, we think, and only that thought disturbs us. And the Kubera and all the other Yakshas really blessed King Dhruva, and they went back to their city, and King Dhruva also returned back to his palace. And after returning to the palace, he realized that he worshipped Bhagavan Vishnu, And with that intense devotion, he realized that all this wealth, power, position, fame, all these are very temporary, and comparing to the this entire creation. That's why they say when we go higher up in the flight, we can see that this entire world, this entire earth is completely filled with water that we can see just like mustard some land, and in that land we fight for so much for power and position. So, just like this, young Dhruva had this thought in his mind, what is the use of all this? It is so fleeting and so temporary. And he ruled the kingdom for Shatrim Shadvarsha Sahasram Shashasakshiti Mandalam Bhogai Punyakshayam Kurvanna Bhogaira Shubhakshayam. He ruled over the earth for 36,000 years, and exhausting all his merits by the enjoyment of the pleasures in life, and his demerit by the performance of yajnas and worshipping Bhagavan. So, just like that, he was not like a king, he was just like a father to his subjects, and like this, he ruled with the Dharma. That kingdom, that is at that time, you can say it as the entire earth for 36,000 years. He want to retire from this life and go to the Badrika ashrama and worship on Bhagavan Sri Hari. So he decided thus, and he gave his power to his son, and he left for Badrika ashrama. There he took bath, cleaned his body, taking bath in the Alakananda, and he purified his mind by doing Kora Tapas, always worshipping on Bhagavan Sri Hari. Anyway, he has practice of it, isn't it? So he worshipped on Sri Hari all the time. And at one time, he lost complete consciousness of this body and mind. Since he lost the consciousness of the body and mind, there is no feeling of I or mine in him. He didn't even feel hunger or thirst because he is out of that body consciousness, and he drew himself in him, and in that pure consciousness, that mark between the meditator, the object of meditation, and that act of meditation. Meditator, the act of meditation, and the object of meditation, everything disappeared, and he was in complete pure consciousness, emerged with the self. At that time, the two attendants of Bhagavan Sri Hari, Nanda and Sunanda, they came in the aerial vehicle and asked King Dhruva, uh, now he was no more a king Dhruva, he is Tapaswi Dhruva, to mount in that vehicle. And he obeyed the attendance of Mahavishnu, and he climbed in that aerial vehicle, and that aerial vehicle passed many luminous realms of this creation, and it went to Vaikuntha. And on the way to Vaikunta, he saw his mother Suniti also in another vehicle going before him. So he was so happy for his mother, and he worshipped Bhagavan Sri Hari. On the way, he saw many different realms, layers and layers of that pure realm, we can say. And he entered in the Vishnu Loka, that is in Vaikunta. There, many luminary objects like the stars and planets, it got attached to him, and he became the pole star, and still existing in this universe as the pole star, the realm of Dhruva. So that is the beautiful story of the Dhruva. Yetyuttana pada putro Dhruva Krishna Parayanaha Abhutrayanam Lokanam Chudamani. Thus, the son of Uttanapada Dhruva, the great devotee of Lord Vishnu, he became the crest jewel, Chudamani, crest jewel of the three worlds. And all the planets and the other luminary objects, even the galaxies, it goes around this pole star that is Dhruva. So this is the Dhruva Charita, and whoever reads it, understand it, hear it, they all will be relieved from all the papas, and they also will get a very bright life because Dhruva Charita is so auspicious and it is very rare to hear about this Charitra. Thus says Bhagavata. So, with this ends chapter 12 of Canto 4 of Srimad Bhagavata Mahapurana. I will continue with the rest of the chapters in this canto in my next upload. Om Shri Narayana Khila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.